practicing heel with a drag leash. Has a very different effect on the dog's brain, and she's definitely, this is her second time doing it with me. Heel, good. And it has a different effect on them for sure.
I'm also going to share my opinions about when you should interrupt fear and when you should correct arousal when the dog is moving as well as stationary. But please get to a park and practice this, even if it's a nice quiet park. That's ideal to start with.
Because they definitely feel different dragging something behind them, and it really helps you test out where you're at. See, she's pushing it, and she doesn't usually do that. Heel. Very good at staying back here normally, so it's just different. It's a different challenge. And we're down at the park. Got a couple dogs we're gonna pass by. No, I have no idea why her ears alerted. My guess is squirrels, because they've been popping around the place, but I have no idea. So that was, what was that? It was an 8. Good. No verbal cue on that one. Followed me really nicely. So we got some interesting things popping up. We got a couple dogs, we got a kid, and we got some boxers. So just a variety. Let's see how she does. I'm gonna turn up the dial a little bit as we walk by these dogs. We'll see if they jump out at us. And even if they do, I'm gonna maneuver her away. Very nice. We're gonna go slow. Good. I don't know if you guys heard that growl. That was not her. That was one of the other dogs. Now we're gonna speed up a bit. Anytime you walk by something that is gonna kind of make your dog a little nervous, slow them down. Help them deal with their emotions. Now, if they're blowing through heel, if they can't focus, then you can do some speed, do some turns to get them into a groove with you. But then you need to slow them back down again. You need to stay in that area and don't leave that moment. Don't leave that area until they do slow really well. Good. Let's go. Come on, hurry up. I'm using some speed because she's really trying to watch them.
So she gets more attitude with dogs than with people, and she gets very upset when dogs bark, so that's why it's very slow, very controlled. Here, she's very fearful of these men. She's not alerting like she'll react. So I'm using speed to refocus her, build some confidence, motivate her to move with me, just get used to them yelling and get used to them doing what they're doing. But I don't want to end on speed. I am going to, I'm probably on my 3rd pass by now, and I am going to slow down. They're only about 10 feet from me, maybe 15.
Let's go. At
the closest point. And so the speed can kind of get the dog into focus when they're nervous and hesitant. And then I'm going to slow her down and end on the slower note.
No? Let's go.
Okay, so here's a repeat, and I'm going to break down why I said no, even though her ears were back when she looked.
Good. Nice. So that was really good. So why did I say no? The reason I said no is because she'd already looked at him a couple times, and that one just really lingered for me. Guys, that one just really lingered a little bit too long for me, and so I just wanted to keep her moving. So for me, when dogs are still looking at something intensely with their ears back, we're gonna use Chris and the Spice Girls. When they're looking at something with their ears back and they can't take their eyes off of it, they're very nervous. Heel. Nope, let's go, like that right there. And I still tap and say no, or tap and say let's go to keep them moving with me, whatever I need to do, because they are thinking, they are like a step before reacting. The difference is if their ears aren't forward, no? If their ears aren't forward, then there's not a ton of arousal, so they're not about to react, but they are feeding off their environment, and I'm just disagreeing with that at a low level. Let's go. Good. See, she didn't notice I bubbled out for that bike because she was looking at the boxers. So see how I'm just navigating my space. Got them again. Let's go, come on. Good. Now we're gonna go slow. See the discomfort, how uncomfortable she is? She's doing great. There's Cash. She's doing great, but she's very uncomfortable. So I always slow down. Nope. No looksies backsies. So all of those tracking other dogs, tracking people and their movements, looking back, all of it, it's a lack of trust. It's all fear, it's all nervousness, no? And that's what leads to reactivity. So it's not a big level. I'm at a 5. Looking back, I'll let a few go. I'll let that one go. Looking back, because those are glances. Oh, that was a tap. Those are some dogs over there hanging out. So I tapped on that one because I know her intent to feed off those dogs and then potentially react. Okay, anyway, when her ears are soft, when they're back and she's tracking someone, especially if she changes pace, without permission, like I didn't change the pace, she changes pace. If she's staring someone down, tracking them, even if her ears are soft, if she speeds ahead, like all these things, fear, anxiety, even though her ears are soft, she's still feeding off her environment and loading a little bit. So I am not correcting that. I am interrupting that. I'm interrupting that process of emotions. I'm interrupting staring at people even with soft ears, because if you're, really tracking someone and you can't take your eyes off of them, that's going to lead to arousal and reactivity. So I'm catching those things early at low levels. The moment those little ears go up, the moment she's more hyper-focused, she's thinking about barking. She's not nervous and fearful. She's thinking about barking. So I understand that fear drives a lot of that, but once those ears are forward, you're in arousal mode and you need to correct. Now with her, a correction is still pretty darn low, very low, one of the lowest you'll ever see. So we adapt it to the dog, so you got to keep that in mind. It's like the difference between a 4, 5, 6 and a 10, 11, 12. But anyway, that's how you get to know your dog and figure those things out. Now we'll finally stop. Now that things have calmed down. Whew. Heel. So notice I keep a lot of fluid motion whenever we're dealing, whenever we're dealing with a lot of distractions. Keep a lot of movement, turns, bubbling out and around, things like that. Then when she's in a groove, then I start to add in some sits, some stationary work, maybe some observing for desensitizing. Like we've got some, these dogs that have been hanging out in the corner. Come on. Ah, that's not what I meant, but okay. Sit. There you go, good girl. I actually want her, good job. Let's go. I actually want her on the ground. Sit. Challenge her a bit in a different way than being up on a surface. Down. Good job. Now, the rules for staring. Good. She's concerned about a noise. The rules for staring, and I tapped at a 5, is a little different in duration. I'll let the dogs observe a little bit more. If something's coming at her, I'm not going to ask her to turn her head away. So I'm either going to see if she's loading, see if her posture changes, breathing changes, feeds off of it. If it does, if she starts to hold her breath, or the ears look like they might go alert, I'll say no, tap, do a little circle, reset her as something walks by. Because that's something coming right at her face. I mean, what do you expect your dogs to turn their head to the side while something's coming right at them? It's an awful lot of trust with you. So that's not necessary. My point is just that if she was to start to feed off of something coming right at her, I would just say, tap, let's go, do a little circle, reset her. And that would allow something to pass by without a reaction. So when it comes to watching kids, she's allowed to glance at kids. But if she hones in on one and follows them, that's a low level no and a tap if her ears are back. If her ears are forward, it's more of a correction. I go 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, higher level. So anyway, these are all the things that we're playing with. interrupting a cycle of feeding off the environment versus a correction. So I'm going to step on the leash for safety.
Hi.
Hi. Down. Good. That's what I scroll down to. Scroll down to a 4 for that down. She had to physically hold her dog back because she has no control. Like as you can see, the chaos going on. So no control over her dog. She knew it. And so even she was like holding her dog back, switched sides, all of that. And so that's why she sat. But for me, there were no signs of her reacting. And so as soon as that dog got to be about right there, I was going to tap and say no. But she ended up sitting, and I tapped and said down. But anyway, either way, I would have just kind of interrupted that. Let's see how she does with Cash. She's using her nose. Good job. Now that's so calm. I mean, that's no big deal at all. Definitely. Yeah, sure. Put them and him in the middle. No. She knows it's you, so she's like, good job. Very nice. Down. She's so good. But anyway, if I'm looking at her body language, she looked so relaxed, using her nose, ears back. What you want to look for, and I know it seems like it gets confusing, it just takes practice. What you want to look for your no is obviously ears alert. Okay, that's one of them. And I know she's fearful of kids and maybe big men. So if her ears are pinned back, she's not panting, she's not using her nose, and she's tracking a large man or a kid, I'm going to interrupt that.